So welcome to this Fireside talk. With me is today Ravi Patel from EpisodeSix, Managing Director here in Singapore. My name is Hanspeter. I'm representing Netceteraeasy and Deviant company, Managing Director here in Singapore. Ravi, we've been working together for quite a while on the issuing side, and I'm really happy to have you here today. And I would actually like to talk with you a little bit about the payment landscape and how it is evolving, and what role we together as EpisodeSix and NetceteraTera and even G&T can play in this ecosystem. Can you share your thoughts with me?
Yeah, so in terms of the evolution that we're seeing, if I were to use a single word, I would probably say it's a very profound change that we're seeing right now. I thought about this and I tried to come up with a very simple breakdown. I think there are sort of two main drivers that's driving the payments industry right now. The first one is the kind of growth in the number of use cases that financial institutions are needing to adopt because of various reasons on the consumer side, on the regulatory side, on the tech side. And the second driver is around access. So a big sort of national drive in most countries is around movement towards cashless. So you've got large numbers of users in all markets for the first time using payments, or in many cases using payment systems in new ways. Now, what all of this means for financial institutions, incumbents and new players in the industry is that there's a lot more complexity now that they're having to deal with. And complexity obviously comes with cost, it comes with risk. And that's sort of where EpisodeSix was born from. Our company started 8 years ago because we recognized that the technologies that the incumbent institutions were using were not built to solve the problems that we're seeing today. And we sort of built a technology stack that was precisely built for real-time engagement, that was built around transferring data in and out of the system so that our clients, the financial institutions, use that data intelligently. And that sort of comes to the partnership here. As mentioned, we focus very much on the processing side. Probably the most critical challenge that financial institutions are facing when they set up new payment use cases or opening up to new markets is around how to handle fraud. And when looking for partners, we were very, very impressed with the sort of depth and quality of the NetceteraTera 3DS solution. It was highly compatible to us, and ultimately the benefit of technologies like EpisodeSix and NetceteraTera is the fact that because we're modern, high-quality API platforms, we can exchange data real time, and that data then becomes valuable to the customer in terms of how they manage not just their fraud, but their overall business. So I think it's a partnership that we've been working on for a couple of years. We've got now several successful launches. And I just think it's just an example of how in this environment, the best of breed vendors can work together to sort of delight customers.
Yeah. I can totally confirm what you're just saying. I mean, if we think back to the first onboarding project when we started working together, and I really could feel the professionalism on both sides. People understood the important points, and we bring the same spirit to the customer, right? But amazing. Talking a little bit about these changes and also maybe a little bit about the legacy. When you look at banks, classical, we even call them legacy banks, right? In the meantime, so tell me what is it that often hinders financial institution, and how EpisodeSix, for instance, can help overcome these hindrances?
Yeah, we don't like we don't use the word legacy. We like to think of it as the mainstream system, and we say that respectfully because today the financial institutions are run on these mainstream systems. So we approach it more from how can we partner with institutions and even their vendors providing mainstream systems to basically get to the holy grail place, right? So one of the sort of founding principles of the EpisodeSix technology stack was built around the basis that the platform had to be flexible enough so that it could adapt to the existing systems, to cooperate with the existing partners and players, to work together to basically go through a progressive modernization journey. We know how difficult it is for banks in today's environment, or banks and financial institutions in today's environment, to adapt. So we take a genuine partner-led approach, working with the mainstream systems. The way we're designed via the API, we can basically plug into the client's core systems. We can integrate into the data architectures. We can comply to their local compliance requirements, and we can very rapidly meet any customer requirement. These are all the things the mainstream systems have struggled to do. It's kind of reasonably sort of a fairly agreed on point. So we can work with the existing systems, complement them, help them enable the new use cases, help them reach the new segments, and then over time we'll go through this journey together. And again, the NetCetera EpisodeSix relationship, it can basically grow across all these different use cases that we're seeing right now. In particular, when you start thinking about these digital-first experiences, where the exposure to new risks and fraud cases, we don't know what we don't know. I think that's why we depend on experts like you guys to give our customers the reassurance that the entire picture's been thought through.
Talking a little bit, let's go more into detail, talking a little bit about architecture and things. Thinking about the offering of NetCetera, we usually tell our customers, look, our advantage is it is in the cloud. You have your simple API. You don't need to care about the availability. It's anyway 99.9. You don't need to think about BCP. You don't need to think about PCI. Tick the box. All the certifications are done. How can we, together, also with EpisodeSix, help these customers on their difficult or complex architecture to modernize it and get an even more agile?
I mean, you can never underestimate how complex the architecture reality is for these financial institutions. I mean, I've spent most of my career working for these organizations, and it's really a complex solution that they're trying to find. So the way we sort of engage with our customers is really on a sort of a consultative basis. To get down into the details, we work with several partners, not just vendor partners, but also sort of consulting partners, subject matter experts. We all get into a room together and we sort of draft up solutions. Again, the genesis of our platform was designed around flexibility. So for us to be effective, we need to understand the existing systems, and basically design to those systems, and then based on the principles of a North Star strategy, basically develop a plan for that. So, we're very hands-on in terms of designing solutions, working with complexity. Again, you asked for specifics. I think some of those kind of principles of modern software embodied by EpisodeSix are things like being an API-first platform. What that actually means in practice is that if a customer was to basically select EpisodeSix and work with us, their engineers would have the same access to our technology that our engineers would have for development and testing purposes. So you're really buying a technology stack that's not just a product in a box. It's essentially a solution that they can own and use to basically achieve their business objectives. And that design principle in itself is very, very powerful, so that basically our customers can really make the most use of the technology, get the most value from it, but then also sort of use it and evolve their strategy as they move along. So we talk a lot about future ready, and what future ready actually means in plain language is the ability to sort of evolve without having to recode your platform. Features like having a multi-tenanted system means that you can basically just very, very quickly spin up new instances for testing purposes. You want to expand into a new market, you want to launch a new product. We're talking minutes here to sort of build things, test things, and then once you're more confident, you can then scale things. So all of these different benefits, you can say, from modern technology, it changes the way that banks can operate. And I think that's kind of where it gets exciting in terms of addressing complexity.
For me, it's very exciting when we talk to customer together to pretty much tell them that they don't even need to integrate with our ASIS anymore, with our access control server, because in the end, we're dealing with it ourselves, and we're exposing an API on the front end. And for us, it's pretty much the risk engine is there, risk-based authentication is there, out of the box. You have your OOB out-of-band authentication. It's all there. It's all there with this simple interface to EpisodeSix. And this is, I think, a really, really big difference for our potential customers.
I mean, we've now been sort of co-selling actively for about, I'd say, over 12 months.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say the integration between our systems was quite straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, our engineers saw your API documentation, we looked at each other, the integration happened, we had a client, it all worked out.
Yeah.
And I think, as you say, the critical thing is really the ease of engaging with these platforms, which makes it a lot easier to basically deploy, configure, expand. And again, the way we've designed it, both your system and ours, it's in essence highly modularized, right?
Yes,
so
yes,
if you want just a core processor 3DS, we can do that. If you've got your own mobile app experience, or you want to use data band, you want to use your SM, I mean, you basically made it very easy for us as non-experts in the fraud space to have conversations with customers, the expertise available, you know.
It's just there.
Just across the table, or across the road, or across the WhatsApp line. And like, I mean, it's almost fun coming together and basically solving a broader problem that's what you can do individually. And again, that's another thing about the modern technology stack and working with best-of-breed vendors, is that via the API integration model, it's very easy to do the integrations, to test them out, and build joint support models. Because I think ultimately, one of the things we have to establish is things like support levels, right? Because again, what every customer cares about is, who do I pick up the phone to call for the problem? Who's the first line? It gets technical. Who's the second line? Who's the third line? And again, we had our very clear models. We set it up. We put it into practice.
Very simple.
And we've had no problem so far.
Okay.
So
amazing. Ravi, thank you so much for the discussion today. This was Ravi Patel from EpisodeSix, here live from the SFF in Singapore. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ravi.
Thanks for having us.